Now, the Presidency has confirmed that the organising team for the National Convention has been restructured and is being reinforced by various social partners in civil society. This in an effort to ensure that the convention goes ahead as planned this coming Friday. President Cyril Ramaphosa met with representatives of the Preparatory Task Team amid concerns about internal divisions and the team's readiness to deliver the event. Now, despite calls from some stakeholders for a postponement, the President reaffirmed that the convention will proceed, referring to it as a call to action for South Africans to take ownership of the country's future. To discuss this matter, we are joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the Steve Biko Foundation, Nkosinathi Biko, and Founder and Managing Director of Khulisa Social Solutions, Dr. Lesley Ann Van Selm. Both of you, thank you. Thank you very, very much for being with us to discuss this important issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Nkosinathi, let's begin with you, because I think you, above all, can give us a real background vision of what's going on. What happened that led to the withdrawal of many foundations from what was hoped to be a national dialogue that would have many, many voices? Obviously, it's still planned to go ahead, but why the foundation's withdrawal?
Yes. Thank you, Leanne. So this is a journey that started probably around May last year, organizing the foundations into a vehicle that would advance the national dialogue. And somewhere around September, we reached out to the head of state, and he sent emissaries that then joined the team, and we constituted together with them what is called the Preparatory Task Team. And we've been seized with putting together the various elements of this. Of course, naturally, there will be the tensions in finding the right balance between a citizen-led process that also involves government partnership and so forth. And we, of late, found a tilt away from that in terms of the structures, issues that we, of course, debated within the Preparatory Task Team. The reason that we find ourselves in a bind, if I may break it down, is that the intent of this process was to build capacity around NEDLEC. And that capacity would have us utilize NEDLEC as a secretariat as well as the logistics anchor for this. The capacity around NEDLEC has not really translated, and by that I mean NEDLEC did not receive any of the resources up until the only confirmation I have is a letter from the minister of 2 days ago, which meant that a lot of the things that were designed to be done by NEDLEC, and there's a reason for NEDLEC, because we wanted to find the right balance between this being a citizen-led process. Remember, some of the things that are going to happen on the ground are very difficult conversation around some of the challenges around government and, of course, some of our communities. So NEDLEC was dealing to guarantee the fact that this would be a process that is insulated from influence. NEDLEC has not had that capacity. So all of the things that have fallen into place around hotels and this have been happening now outside of NEDLEC, right? We hit a date that was critical when we were looking at the position of NEDLEC and its resourcing. That date is the 22nd of April. Sorry, 22nd of July.
Okay.
After that date, you simply cannot fulfill the procurements required, especially of the large numbers, for a process like this in compliance with the PFMA. And we were looking for these assurances, and of course, NEDLEC CFO told us he couldn't do it from then onwards. And we were also then keen to know how these other structures that are coming into play are able to help us comply with that. It's really, for us, three things. Once we hit the 22nd of April, were we able to have the quality event we wanted? And the answer across all the parties is that it's not. Are we able to have a compromised event where we change the program a bit to have some event? The answer is possibly yes, but are we able to have a compliant event, both in terms of PFMA and public participation? Our view is that we wouldn't be able to. It's on that basis that we approach the president to say, Mr. President, the one thing that we can manage is the date. If we move it out, it allows us to do better planning and compliance issues so that this process is not marred in controversies that it is designed to sort.
And the presidency has responded, and they are saying they're going ahead, and that this preparatory task team are going to meet on Friday, and this is going to happen. I'm going to come back to you, Nkosinathi. I just want to bring in Dr. Van Selm into the conversation now. It is worrying that we haven't even started talking. The national dialogue hasn't even started, and there have been so many issues in the lead up to this. And I'm grateful that Nkosinathi gave us a good understanding of what's been going on behind the scenes, and we get a proper understanding as to why they have withdrawn. What are your views? An outside opinion on this? I mean, this surely can't bode well for the future of these talks.
Most definitely not. And the thing is that this national dialogue potentially holds immense potential for us to come up with credible solutions for our country. But my question is, what data has informed the content of the dialogue? Has it been the voice and the analysis of the people at grassroots level who are able to articulate their realities and thus enable our leaders in this dialogue to be able to address these realities? So I'm really worried about the agenda, how that's been informed, and how that's going to percolate down to the people at grassroots level.
Yeah, and that's what's most important, because this national dialogue was called for those exact reasons. And Nkosinathi, I want to bring you in again. If you could, I mean, reading the front page of the Sunday Times this past weekend and many other medias, but this is just what I've got in front of you, and I hope you can comment to this, because there's a lot of concern, and this is what they are quoting one person saying, is that the presidency is running a parallel structure with the ANC, which is against the agreement for this to be citizen-led. That in itself is a statement that is worrying. Talk to us about this. I mean, is that what you have been feeling in the run-up to this as well?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of mischief in the Sunday Times story. Okay. It really is bothersome. My first job was in journalism, and agri-cluster taught me a lot about journalism that I don't see in that story. The issue of the perception that this is a process designed to rescue government or the ANC is an issue that was raised by the public. It's always been one of the suspicions. And it's precisely why we need to not be tone deaf in how we build this, right? So I go back to this issue of NEDLEC. If you have NEDLEC without the capacity until 2 days ago, and you have these preparations happening in units of government, it's very easy then for people to confirm that suspicion, that if a procurement is happening through an office of one or other of the ministers aligned to a particular party, that this matter is advancing or will advance the agendas of that. It's precisely those things that have concerned us, that required us to ensure that everything is driven effectively through NEDLEC, and the contributions of government are facilitated through NEDLEC, which is an oversight structure over which there is labor, there is business, and there is civil society. We would have to be transparent in how this matter is handled. On the question that has been raised now, it is actually one of the issues that we were concerned about in still moving forward with the 15. Despite the confirmation that, yes, we can have a venue, we can have hotels, we can have this, it's not about the quantity of contribution, it's about the quality that we are able to offer at the first convention. And it was meant to be an agenda-setting convention that is based on deep engagement with more than 30 sectors of our society. And a lot of the preparatory work that needs to go with that has not quite happened. And these are things that, by the way, are stipulated in courts these days. How you go about public participation, the number of languages, minimum number of languages, the stations that we have to use, and so all of those kinds of things. So it's for this reason that I'm saying it's not the event that we would have wanted to see happen. And because we couldn't find alignment, we simply then said, when the president said, I would like this to happen on the 15th still, the response was, Mr. President, it can happen, but it can't be driven by this team, because the team that we have now cannot vouch, at least half your team cannot vouch that we can deliver this event as we had envisaged. And so it is best then to withdraw that half of the team and allow the half that can continue, who believe that they can deliver this and meet all of these principles by the 15th to do so. Okay. So it's a withdrawal from the PT team, right? We will find ways, because the dialogue itself is made up of about 13,400 community-based conversations. And we look forward to mobilizing citizens to add their voice to. It is a process that we must still protect, but it must also be comfortable with the feedback from people and the hard questions that are going to come out of it down the line.
So you're still going to be a part of the national dialogue? I mean, it's the part of this initial part, the preparatory task team, that you are withdrawing from.
We're withdrawing from the preparatory task team, and certainly the convention itself is not what we had wanted, so it makes little sense to now be involved with that. We will re-engage and see how we mobilize citizens. Okay. And part of what we have to do is, in fact, popularize the idea that we cannot commit ourselves to a frank review of our nation and then have a process that will not enable that delivery, right?
Yeah.
And so we will encourage people to attend the community dialogues and so forth. We don't want to collapse this process. We are stuck on an issue of principle, and unfortunately we couldn't get past it because of different views, and hence the results that we publicize.
All right, so let's bring in Dr. Van Selm once again into the conversation. So a lot's been said, and I think it's very important to get this out there, and then of course to get your views onto it. I mean, these disagreements between really crucial and key stakeholders are certainly ones that we don't want to see, because this has already started off on not such a good note, particularly looking at a price tag. And then, you know, we had the DA withdrawing from this. Then now we are seeing key foundations, and I list pretty much so at the top of it, the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, which has been, you know, one that's, we've heard the former president been calling for something like this for quite some time. And the bottom line is that the people at the grassroots is who this is intended for and has always been, and yet these lines feel like they are blurred. Talk to us from what you've seen on a grassroots level. I mean, the talks, what's happening, the involvement, talk to us from that side.
Well, you know, I can't help but thinking, why the hurry, and you know, what's the agenda? So Khulisa is 28 years old, and we, especially in the past 5 years, have wallow in listening to the voices of the community to guide us in terms of what's really needed. And unless we deal with the inequality in this country, we will never prosper. And unfortunately, the policies that have been developed over the years by government in multiple sectors have not been implemented, and the billions and millions spent on the policy development have been all in vain. So the communities are sinking deeper and deeper into the sense of hopelessness and that nothing works. And with the poverty now and the hunger in the communities, the opportunities for innovation and creativity to actually start dealing with their own problems has been totally eroded. So again, the outcomes of this dialogue, again, is this going to be yet another menu being placed on the table without any budget to implement at grassroots level, with our municipalities being so dysfunctional and with the brokenness everywhere? Surely we need to start looking at training our local government officials in the laws that that bind us, in holding them accountable to be able to deal with people at grassroots level, and rather be dealing at a micro level with communities in wards, and having those dialogues there where the community can come up with their solutions and engage in non-confrontational discussions with local government, where they are trained to understand what their responsibilities are. But unfortunately, that's not the case. We've got so many community leaders who don't even know what their responsibilities are. Yeah. So for me, it should be a bottom-up approach and not a top-down approach, which doesn't bode very well in terms of the real impact on the community.
And that for me is worrying as well. Lesley Ann, I'm going to keep talking to you, because I must say, just on passing comments and wherever I've been, people haven't necessarily been speaking about this in the best light. Most people laugh about it and say, oh, here we go again, the typical South African way of having another talk shop where we don't even know what's going to happen. It's never going to be implemented. It's going to have a massive price tag on it, and you're going to get people in a room having these conversations, and then what? And at the end of the day, people that you are referring to are never, ever going to actually feel the benefits of this, and that you're not going to directly improve the daily lives of all South Africans. And is that a sense you're getting as well? I mean, do you know what this national dialogue is all about, actually? Have you felt that's been communicated adequately?
Definitely not. So, sorry, at grassroots level, it's just, yes, as you say, another talk shop, and yet more and more a sense of hopelessness of just seeing the money that's being invested and saying, why can't we put, street lights, why can't we fix our roads? Why can't we fence our properties? Why is all this money going into this government-driven agenda when people are suffering with no basic services being addressed at a local level?
Yeah. Nkosinathi, I mean, let me ask the same question to you. When you were there in the planning phases and you were a part of this, I mean, do you have a clear mandate? Do you feel that this is really going to improve the lives of people? And is this honestly the way to go?
It's a process that is informed by all those concerns. And this is why in the planning of it, to date, there are now about 1,000 organizations that have expressed an interest to participate. And for the convention itself, we had looked at about 30 sectors that cut across society to help with delegates who will help with the formulation of the agenda. The difficulty is going to a convention with answers when you're saying this is a people's process. So that's why the first convention was an agenda-setting one, lifting all these concerns that you are referring to and colleagues are referring to, and using that agenda then to go to communities. 13,400 word-based community conversations to really get into the issues that will inform a national compact. And one of the things that we are grappling with is how to ensure that that compact itself becomes something that is implemented. It just doesn't become a hanging document from which people walk away. So some of the considerations, including conversations we've had with EPG members, is how to make sure that that leads to actionable outcomes that are distinct from the challenges we've seen, for instance, with other platforms like, say, Zondo and others that people are concerned about. Yeah. Those are the things that we ought to be presenting at the national dialogue to cure and to make sure that this process is distinct from other false promises that we've had in the past.
All right, we got to leave it there. I want one word answer from both of you. Lesley, the president has told us that there's nothing to worry about and everything's going to go off well. Is that a yes or a no for you? Do you agree?
No.
And for you, Nkosinathi?
Something will go ahead, but not what we had set out to achieve on the 14th.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it there. Thank you, both of you. Dr. Lesley Ann Van Selm, who's the founder and managing director of Khulisa Social Solutions and the chief executive officer of the Steve Biko Foundation, and Nkosinathi Biko, speaking about the decision by the National Legacy Foundations to pull out of the National Dialogue Preparatory Task Team.